90% chance of nacho cheese storms this afternoon, moving in from a drive-thru worker answering a phone while serving you, leading to a real messy day. For the weekend, conditions are perfect for a sandstorm developing, caused by a day at the beach, with flip-flops and towels contributing there. For folks living with an SUV, watch out for a big mess in the back developing later from a bag of mulch and compost. Conditions are ripe.
Spills, mud, dirt, and sand can ruin the floor of your car, truck, or SUV. The best way to protect your vehicle's floor is with WeatherTech floor liners and cargo liners. Made of the highest quality materials and laser measured, WeatherTech floor liners are specifically designed for your vehicle. And they're made in America. Protect yourself from the elements inside your vehicle. Order yours today at WeatherTech.com or call 1-800-CarMats. WeatherTech. Complete protection, completely American made.
Ad Council.
Today in Florida Ag News from the Southeast AgNet. Well, AgNet Media is proud to join the University of Florida Athletics and the Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences to promote the 2016 Agriculture and Gardening Day at UF. That's when the Gators play the University of Missouri Tigers at UF's homecoming football game on October 15th. The staff here at AgNet Media are excited to support an event organized to show appreciation for the dedicated men and women of the ag industry. AgNet Media owner Gary Cooper said this is a great opportunity to make agriculture's presence known at this popular annual homecoming event. Not only does the special promotion allow agricultural people and businesses to enjoy great deals on good seats for homecoming, it also gives agriculture a good chance to make a positive public impact while raising scholarship money for IFAS at the same time. Now, anyone with ties to the ag industry can get game day tickets at special discount prices starting July 27th if you register online. To learn more, go to our website, southeastagnet.com.
Producers, save big this growing season when you make the switch to a clean, efficient propane irrigation engine. First, you'll save up to 40% on the purchase compared with an equivalent diesel engine. Then save up to 50% on operating costs. Finally, you can say goodbye to high maintenance costs. Propane engines are EPA and Tier 4 compliant without any of the expensive fluids or filters required for diesel. Add it all up, and propane is second only to rain when it comes to savings. Learn more about making the switch to propane at propane.com/agriculture.
Attention citrus growers, production managers, industry professionals. The 25th Annual Citrus Expo is set for August 17th and 18th at the Lee Civic Center, Fort Myers. Don't wait. Pre-register now at citrusexpo.net. All pre-registered growers are eligible to win a John Deere gun safe provided by Everglades Farm Equipment. Other sponsors include Tessenderlo Curley, the Citrus Research and Development Foundation, GP Solutions, Orchex, Fresh from Florida, Keyplex, and New Farm. Get all the details at citrusexpo.net and in Citrus Industry Magazine.
Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
On this episode of What Not to Do, brought to you by
Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it.
I love vacations, but it's good to come home.
Is the pool overflowing?
We don't have a pool, and even if we did, it wouldn't be on the second floor.
Oh.
I told you before we left to turn off the water main.
I thought you said take down the weather vane.
We don't have one of those either.
Yeah, I was wondering why you said that. It does make more sense now.
Okay, genius, don't just stand there. Cut the main water off.
Okay, I'll go get the chainsaw.
Wait, what? No! What do we do when there's a plumbing issue?
Oh, I got this one. I'll be right back.
I said no chainsaw. Shut the water off and call Mike Scott Plumbing.
Of course, I definitely was not going for the blowtorch.
Uh-huh. The number should be etched in your memory, but just in case, 866-314-4443.
Okay, got it. 866-314-4443. On next week's episode of What Not to Do.
Really? A mariachi band?
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
It's 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. To all of the people out there, men and women, who have served us in the armed forces, thank you for doing that. Who have served us in the police and the fire departments and the sheriff's offices, thank you for doing that. And many of you have done that and had some damage done to you that is maybe not visible in the form of maybe post-traumatic stress disorder. We've heard about that over and over and over again. How many of you have believed in or tried therapies to help with that problem. How many of you have even wondered if you may have it, or if your husband or your wife may have experienced something that is causing them to be a little bit different because of it? I've told this story before, and at the sake of being redundant, but I haven't told it in a while. But let me tell it again. We have a weekly show, most of you know. It's on Thursdays. It's called Veterans News, and it's a half-hour show, and the group called Vets Helping Vets comes in. And it's been on the air here for at least 10 years. And years ago, I can remember a gentleman came in with his wife. He was a Korean War veteran, and he had been diagnosed with PTSD, but years and years and years after the war. And he had heard about this thing called PTSD, wondered if he had maybe a need to go see if maybe part of his personality was being caused by an experience in the Korean War. And maybe his wife was greatly responsible for him even being curious. But anyway, to make the story a little bit shorter, they came into the show and they told the story of how he went to therapy and it truly changed him. And she was so grateful for it. She stood by his side the whole time whenever he was going through whatever he was going through. Probably is their whole marriage, right? She probably didn't know him any other way. But he really did become a different person after the therapy. Not in a bad way. I don't mean like he was reprogrammed. I mean, he became a calmer person. He said he became the person he was before he entered the war, went to the war. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. We're starting to understand our own psychologies a lot better, and we're hearing about ways to address the issues in so many ways. We're going to learn about another one right now. Eric Walrabenstein is on the phone. He is a U.S. Army infantry officer, so he knows this better than I ever will. He worked with military members and veterans. He's the founder of Bootstrap, which is a yoga-based stress management system. He is a nationally recognized educator in the fields of yoga, mindfulness, and mind-body wellness. He specializes in the translation of ancient wisdom for modern times, and he's kind enough to give his time to this little show here in Ocala after having been on Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS. He's featured in Success Magazine, The Yoga Journal, and he's written a book. And I guess you could probably guess that. It's called Waging Inner Peace: How 5,000 Veterans Used the Ancient Secrets of Yoga and Mindfulness to Reclaim Their Lives from Stress, and how you can too. So this is for everybody, no matter what you've gone through. Eric Walrabenstein, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. This is already fascinating me just with what I know. Where are you located? Where are you calling from?
I'm in sunny Phoenix, Arizona, where it's a balmy 112 degrees.
Wow.
Oh, man.
He's got us beat.
You got us beat.
But there's no humidity. So.
I know. That's what they always say. I like I've been out there, and I like waking up. I like mornings in your part of the world. It's just so beautiful in the morning. Yeah. But right now, it's not so good, is it? Although, wait a minute. It's 10:09. It's only, 7 o'clock there? Or 8?
It's 7 o'clock. You're still climbing up. I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's going to be 115 this afternoon, but right now it's hovering around 100.
Wow.
So when we think of yoga, if we've never done it, we have this picture of sitting cross-legged on the floor.
We do, or bending like a pretzel.
Exactly.
So can you help me understand what yoga is, and maybe then we can take it from there and explain how it helps with with emotional issues?
The interesting thing is that yoga, as it's been translated into our culture, has become kind of a shadow of itself. And what we think of as yoga in this country, the postures and the bending and the sweating, and then to some extent the cross-legged sitting on the floor, is really only a small part of the overall science of yoga. The practice itself is really about steadying and calming the mind. It's not so much about the physical piece. Now, we do use physical postures and other physical exercises in order to get to the mind, but at its core, it's really about helping us to live happier, healthier lives in the mental and emotional realm, much more in the physical realm.
Well, how far back did you discover this? And was it accidental or was it intentional? How did this become part of your life?
It was completely accidental, and if I go back into the archives, I would have never in a million years thought that I'd be sitting here where I am doing what I'm doing today. But it all started back in 1980. I was a a kid, 17 years old, in a parking garage in Sacramento, California, and I got attacked by a group of what I'll call thugs. They gave me a pretty good whooping. I took my wallet, left me bloodied and laying on the parking lot floor.
Wow.
And as muggings go, I was pretty lucky. I mean, they had knives and such, but I didn't get stabbed.
How old were you?
I was 17.
Wow.
And I came away from that thinking that, no big deal, and brushed myself off, and I was no worse for wear in a couple of days, or so I thought.
Yeah.
But what really happened was that I was left with what I now know was a stress injury. And so for years and years and years, and I'm talking like 15 years, dark enclosed spaces would send me into a low-grade panic. People who looked like my attackers would bring up anxiety in me. I had insomnia, some anger management issues, and a whole host of other nagging little symptoms. And that was the thing that made me eventually get more and more curious about these mind-body technologies from yoga and mindfulness and meditation and such.
Okay, so did you look it up like in the library or the internet, or did you ask a friend, or did a friend suggest it? How did you cross over to cross the line?
Well, life's a funny thing, as we all know. And I was at the time, this was after my military career. I was working in downtown San Francisco, and I was hiring people to work on my team. And I was interviewing this woman, and she mentioned, oh, by the way, I just got back from a meditation retreat in Thailand. And for whatever reason, that just piqued my interest. And I asked her about that, and she said, well, you should go to this place and talk to these people. And I did that, started a meditation practice, and that led to yoga, and the whole thing kind of snowballed from there.
Really? Was it hard to do? Like, again, the rest of the world who doesn't do meditation thinks of it as sleep.
Yeah.
I'm always afraid that if I were to get into this, I'd just fall asleep. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing about meditation is that people either think that it's sleep or they think that it's bliss. And the truth of the matter is it's work. And because what we're really doing when we're meditating, and this is true with many of the mindfulness and yoga practices as well, is we're training our minds to behave. Because the truth of the matter is that most of us have these unruly, spoiled children living upstairs who want this and want this and want this and want this. And we really haven't developed the ability to make the mind sit and stay. As a consequence, and this is one of the big focuses of the Bootstrap program and the work in Waging Inner Peace, as a consequence, we are creating immense amounts of what I call optional stress and anxiety in our lives, stress and anxiety that simply wouldn't be there if we had a little bit more mastery over the mental aspect of ourselves.
You also stress good posture, and you have different not exercises, but different positions that you help the person with, and I found that very interesting.
Well, it's interesting because, from the yogic perspective, well, let me back up and say that, Western science is beginning to recognize that there's a mind-body connection. And I always kind of laugh at that a little bit because there is no mind-body connection. The mind and the body are one thing, right? It's one system. So you don't see minds walking down the street without bodies. You don't see bodies walking down the street without minds.
Oh, I have.
I know a couple of people.
I have seen this.
But for the most part, it's really one system. And so there are things that I like to call points of leverage that we can use to influence the whole system. So the breath is one point of leverage, and posture is another one. There was a woman recently who wrote a book, and it escapes me at the moment, but it was a brilliant book on how standing in this superhero pose just for 20 seconds in the morning can actually change your whole day.
Really?
What happens in the body affects what happens in the mind, and what happens in the mind affects what happens in our emotions, and what happens in our emotions affects the body again. And so it's a big system, and there's different little points of leverage we can use in order to influence our well-being.
Wow, that makes sense to me.
I'm going to do
this.
this.
Like a superhero.
I can do
like
that.
Yeah. What superhero?
Superman.
Superman.
You can put your hands on your hips.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
Yeah, but that's cool for your for your mind and your focus and everything. It's like you take a deep breath and you're ready to start the day.
5,000 veterans used the ancient secrets of yoga and mindfulness to reclaim their lives from stress. That's the subtitle of the book, called Waging Inner Peace. We will continue our conversation. This is really fascinating. Eric Walrabenstein. I hope you're having as good a time as we are, and I hope you don't mind our silliness here and there. But we do have to take a little break. But don't go away. We'll be right back with you, Eric. And for the listeners, at the end of this, I do have a copy of the book that I'll be able to give away. The rest of us will have to go buy it, but don't call and ask for it until I tell you I'm ready to give it away. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, looking partly sunny, a thunderstorm in spots during the afternoon hours, the high around 93 to 96 degrees. Then Wednesday night, mainly clear skies, low 73 to 76. For tomorrow, partly sunny, another afternoon thunderstorm in spots with a high of 93 to 97. Friday, partly sunny, a shower thunderstorm and a high of 94 to 98. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Evan Duffy.
That was the sound of a tree falling. It could be your tree. You're going to have it trimmed, but never got around to calling Pride Tree Service. It could have fallen in a field, and now all you have to do is call Pride Tree Service, and they'll have it quickly out of the way for a great price. But don't wait until the tree falls. It may not fall in the field. It may hit your car, your house, or worse. So call Pride Tree Service today and avoid all those headaches before they happen. Pride Tree Service, 572-2510. That's 572-2510.
New windows will beautify your home and bring you immediate energy savings. Renewal by Andersen of Central Florida leads the way in quality and installs the name brand homeowners trust. Visit renewalbyandersen.com for a free in-home consultation with the pros. Right now, buy 4 windows and get the 5th free. Plus, no money down, 0% interest, and 0 payments for 12 months with approved credit. Visit renewalbyandersen.com. That's renewalbyandersen.com. Offer ends July 31st. License CGC 1523333.
Cookies, 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 cookies. We go cookie eating cookies.
When you want something special and fun for any occasion, get cookies. King Cookie in the Paddock Mall in Ocala will make a delicious, fun-filled delight just for you. So next time you're in the mall, stop by King Cookie or call 352-237-2557. KingCookieOcala.com. Customized cookies, cakes, and more. King Cookie.
Eating cookies. We're so happy eating cookies. Cookies!
All right, 18 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. On the phone is Eric Walrabenstein. He is the author of a book called Waging Inner Peace. He's got a really impressive list of credentials. The subtitle of the book, How 5,000 Veterans Used the Ancient Secrets of Yoga and Mindfulness to Reclaim Their Lives from Stress, and How You Can Too. One of the programs, Eric, that I was talking about earlier was we have a therapeutic riding association here, and it's horses, and the veterans will ride horses, and I don't know that I understand what happens, but every one of them said it makes a big difference in everything going on in their demeanors, I guess is the best choice of words for now.
I think it's really fascinating, and I think it's even more fascinating we forget this, but it doesn't take a lot for us to increase our well-being literally from the inside out. That we have a lot more power within us by doing really simple things, whether it has to do with interacting with horses and horseback riding, or a little bit of mindful meditation, or even just in the way that we carry ourselves, that can really exponentially increase our well-being. And it's really exciting to me.
What I'm curious about is how a book can help me. Would a book just get me started, or could I actually do everything through the book, or would it be better to go to like a class or actually have a teacher?
It really depends on the person. It's always good to be in the presence of an expert who can guide you, coach you, and be your cheerleader. Because one of the interesting things about stress conditions, and one of the things that makes them so debilitating, is that one of the chief symptoms is this reluctance to seek help. Sometimes it's really difficult to kind of move forward on your own power. With that said, the book Waging Inner Peace contains an entire 7-week system that walks people step by step through a proven process that helps them to understand, and this is probably the most important takeaway of the whole work, is understand what's happening under the hoods of these body minds. How does this stress condition perpetuating, and what are the things that I can do to get in the way and interrupt those processes that are actually creating the stress on the inside of my body mind. So both paths, if you will, whether it's doing something with a book or doing something with an instructor, are valid, and it really kind of depends on the person to a very large degree.
And something interesting, you had said that you were teaching classes out at Salt Springs right here in our area, and it that really is a beautiful place for people to come that they just feel so stressed, and then they see you and you take your class in such a wonderful area that there is life beyond video games and beyond the hustle and bustle of driving the cars to work.
That's so true. And, the thing is that in this day and age, with the technology and the ever-quickening pace of life, the things that we do to really bring our nervous systems back into a nice, harmonious, relaxed balance really aren't even that relaxing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, video games and watching TV and movies, that sure is better than stressing out about work, but it's not true relaxation, the kind of depth of relaxation that will rebalance the nervous system. So it's so important to unplug in that way.
Now, and Robin mentioned the peacefulness of the Salt Springs area. So I would want to ask this: how important is the surroundings? Can you do it in your room? Do you need to put on music or burn incense or anything like that? And again, I'm using, in some ways, I guess, caricatures of what we think yoga is about.
The short answer is everything matters, but I'm not prone to short answers. So the core of waging inner peace and the bootstrap system is that circumstances are less important than our relationship to our circumstances, and that includes where I'm standing in any given moment. And what all of my work is really about is helping people to master their lives, to create happiness, to synthesize more peace, and productivity even, independent of the cards they've been dealt. So while it's true that, having serene circumstances can help, it's also true that we all have the ability to synthesize great happiness and peace within ourselves, independent of the circumstances, if you understand how to use the techniques in the right way.
So can you do it in a group, or do you need to be alone?
Either one. It's really about the techniques and using them in a way to interrupt the ways that we literally are creating stress from the inside out.
And you talk about managing your humanness. So is that a good example of that phrase?
Well, yes, it is. When I talk about managing humanness, I'm really referring to this process where, as we get more and more adept at managing our stress and creating the happy lives we want, it's also true that it's inevitable that we will have episodes of negative emotions and anger, and even the Pope has bad days.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we really need to prepare ourselves for is that being a human being is messy business. So while it's true we can calm ourselves and get incrementally better, always the messy side of being a human being is going to arise, and we also need to be able to come into a functional relationship with that as well.
I'm stuck on the Pope has bad days. I'm picturing him like with his computer, this stupid thing. The internet's down again.
Microsoft Windows is enough to drive anybody.
Yeah.
I went to Vatican.com and it's not working. All right. So take me by the hand. What do I do? How do I get started with this? What should be the first thing I do?
Well, there's a couple of different ways to go at this. For troops and veterans, we have this whole program online with animated lessons, and it's all free. And they can get that at bootstrapusa.com.
Oh, okay.
Of course, everybody else can also buy the program as well. That's how we fund the free program for the veterans. If, however, you are more of a reader, that's why we wrote Way Inner Peace. The whole catalyst for the writing of the book was the fact that of the thousands of service members and veterans using the program all across the country, we began to notice that family members and their neighbors and others began to get interested and want to use it as well. And so that's why we put the whole thing in a book, so that you can take that with you and work this process through Waging Inner Peace as well.
You know, the first thing, I just went to the website, the first thing that comes up is this beautiful picture of the ocean with the waves gently coming into and rolling back out again. And that, oh my gosh, right there. I mean, we live in Florida, and so that could be Florida. But I mean, that to me, that if I was going to tell you how I just let go of stress, that's one of the ways. Just put my bare feet into that shallow, ocean water, and I don't know why it helps, but it does. Is that actually a way of a form of yoga? Just doing that?
It absolutely is, because if you think back to our discussion a little bit earlier about points of leverage, how what happens in the body affects the mind, what happens in the mind affects the emotions, and on and on. Just the fact when you walk onto a beach and you're viewing this beautiful panorama, you put your feet and you feel the cold water, and then you take a nice deep breath of the salt air, and all of this brings your attention away from whatever problems and issues that you're having in your life and roots you into the present moment, which is one of the major tenets of both yoga and mindfulness.
And sometimes people don't even realize that they are experiencing stress. I mean, there might be a television show on TV and people are watching this, and then all of a sudden they start feeling kind of strange because maybe something violent happened during that show, but they perceived it as entertainment. It's sort of a residual effect.
One of the things that in writing the book that just bowled me over is I came across a quote, a statistic actually from the Centers of Disease Control, and they've said that 90% of all primary care physicians' visits are linked to stress. And when I first saw that, I thought that was absolutely, it had to be a typo because it sounds so crazy. But I dug a little bit deeper. It is, in fact, true. And the reason that it's true is because stress affects the nervous system. And when the nervous system is affected, the nervous system, of course, is central headquarters for your immune system, for your heart, for your lungs, for everything else. And so the truth of the matter is that we are all simmering in a level of stress that is more unhealthy and more detrimental to our lives than we really even imagine. And so this is why this work, from my perspective anyway, is so important, because our mission is to empower us all to not excuse ourselves or escape our busy lives, but how can we maintain our calm, ease, and happiness despite the busyness of our lives.
Well, I am really appreciating what you're saying, and I think we can all benefit from this. You know who I'm thinking about is some of the folks who were involved in that nightclub shooting in Orlando. Some of the survivors and the families of the survivors. I mean, they could probably all benefit from this. Eric, thank you for what you've done, for coming on the air, for writing the book. Eric Walrabenstein wrote the book called Waging Inner Peace, and I'd like to give it away right now. So if you call me at 622-9622, you can have the copy that was sent to us. The rest of us have to go buy it. Do we get it at bootstrapusa.com?
It's available there or at Amazon.
Okay, let me take a caller here and just pick one at random. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Yes, is Larry Whitler there?
This is he. Are you calling for the book or for other reasons?
Actually, for other reasons, Larry.
Okay, well,
where you had
hold on.
An interview with.
Yeah, hold on. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
My name's Mike.
Mike? Do you know where we are, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. Mike, the book is waiting for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And Eric, thank you for coming on the air with us today.
It's my absolute pleasure, guys. Thanks. Have a great day.
All right. We will be right back.
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Pat O'Neill. John Hinckley Jr., the man who tried to assassinate President Ronald Reagan in 1981 and shot 3 other people, will be freed after 35 years. A U.S. judge said Hinckley no longer poses a danger to himself or others, and he'll be released to live with his mother. A big night for Democrats, and Hillary Clinton, now officially the party's nominee for president, telling the convention via satellite last night,
"We just put the biggest crack in that glass ceiling yet."
Bernie Sanders' call for party unity only partially appeased Bernie supporters.
This Sanders supporter says it doesn't matter to her who becomes president.
I am taking my guidance in my spirit for the rest of my life from what I have learned from his campaign.
The reaction during Hillary Clinton's acceptance on Thursday will likely be the best indicator of a party that's united or not.
Fox's Gurnell Scott at the convention in Philadelphia. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Today's forecast for the inside of your vehicle, sponsored by WeatherTech. A 90% chance of nacho cheese storms this afternoon, moving in from a drive-through worker answering a phone while serving you, leading to a real messy day. For the weekend, conditions are perfect for a sandstorm developing, caused by a day at the beach, with flip-flops and towels contributing there. For folks living with an SUV, watch out for a big mess in the back developing later from a bag of mulch and compost. Conditions are ripe.
Spills, mud, dirt, and sand can ruin the floor of your car, truck, or SUV. The best way to protect your vehicle's floor is with WeatherTech floor liners and cargo liners. Made of the highest quality materials and laser measured, WeatherTech floor liners are specifically designed for your vehicle. And they're made in America. Protect yourself from the elements inside your vehicle. Order yours today at WeatherTech.com or call 1-800-CarMats. WeatherTech. Complete protection, completely American made.
Nestled in the heart of horse country, just off I-75 exit 354, the award-winning and newly refreshed Howard Johnson Inn of Ocala invites you to pamper yourself at one of our
All right, a little bit of a computer problem right there. Robin is going to go fix it, and we'll be right back on the air. We're coming up on the program called Renewal by Andersen of Central Florida, and we'll have that on the air in just a moment. Renewal by Andersen is a company that specializes in windows and window accessories, and the program that you'll be hearing when it starts in just a few minutes is a paid program. So it's an infomercial, as you know, but the information is still useful. And I encourage you that if you've got window needs, I have window needs. I've got to wait, though. It's a money thing. But, you know, if you are ready for window changes and you want to listen to the show, you'll be able to pick up on some tips. And they have a special, like a special deal for WOCA listeners. And I think the way that works is they have a dedicated 800 number, a toll-free number, that when you call it, they know that it's coming from, it's being generated from their program. And it's a way for them to keep up with the fact that they're paying for advertising, and they want to make sure that their money is going to where it should be, which is to get new customers. But obviously we want you to buy Windows only if you need Windows. But they do have a special kind of a discount for you when you call. All right, the computer is back up and running, so we'll continue with the commercials, and the program I just told you about should start in about 1 minute and 10 seconds. Thank you for listening. This is The Source, WOCA.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business, because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com, Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge, undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
This is James Snyder, inviting you to join me each Sunday morning at 9:30 for Sunday Joy on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM.
Putting the local back into radio. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. WOCA News. Variety. Information. Now. Keep your arms and legs on the inside at all times.
WOCA. WWWWWOCA.